Hey everyone, welcome to the AI Show Live. I'm Cassie Brevu, and today we are going to be talking about the Azure Video Indexer. Really cool things coming from that product and a lot of cool updates from Ignite. And then after the video, we're going to be talking to Yonit, who's a data scientist on the team. She's going to be here to answer your questions. And then Seth is actually going to join us after that and show us the cool things that he's been working on. And yeah, so let's jump in. Hey everyone, welcome to the AI Show. I am Cassie Brevu, and today we are going to be talking about the Azure Video Indexer. You're not going to want to miss it. So I am joined by the amazing people that are working on this product. Thank you so much for being here. Can you tell me a little bit about yourselves?
Sure. I'm David Dykman. I'm a product manager on the Azure Video Indexer product team.
So hi, everyone. It's great to be here. So I'm Yonit Hoffman, and I lead the data science team of Video Indexer.
Great. Thank you so much for being here. Now, some people may have not heard of Azure Video Indexer. Can you tell me a little bit about what it is?
So Azure Video Indexer is actually a Azure GA product, actually GA from 2018. Recently went GA as an ARM resource, so it's now a first-class Azure resource. And customers can index their video. So what the Video Indexer service does is it runs tens of AI models over their video and audio content to generate really valuable insights.
Okay, so you have some things to show us. Let's jump in.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. So as you can see here, Azure Video Indexer extracts insights from video and audio files through a rich set of machine learning algorithms. What does that mean? So it actually is for batch content, so it's not for streaming. So often customers will have extensive video archives or video content, and they could upload that through the services. We're an Azure Applied AI Service as part of the Azure Cognitive Services. Video Indexer is actually 30 plus AI models and services rolled into one. So instead of having to put together all the different APIs and Azure Media Services and Cognitive Services, Video Indexer is a single endpoint where you can consume that service as a turnkey solution. It makes it really simple and easy to consume. And that's what we mean as a cloud SaaS offering. As I mentioned, this has been GA since 2018. And with that, we will also kind of discuss how users engage with the Video Indexer. So there's actually 3 options. And with this, it really depends on the customer profile and what they're trying to do. So Video Indexer can be used through the portal experience, which we'll be demoing and focusing on today, as well as it has embeddable widgets. You can take different parts of Video Indexer and put it into your own application. And for customers that have hundreds or thousands of videos that they're looking to index, there's the APIs, and there's a great setup where you can leverage that and really do it at scale to process those hundreds or thousands of videos. And you can see here kind of with that little chart here on the left. So if you're just getting started, so we'll have a look soon that you can use the portal. If you have basic or low volume of videos, so that's a great experience. When you're starting to look and trying to do a POC and see if it's a good fit, you want to build it in your application, so then you can start using embeddable widgets. And that's what many customers embed the Video Indexer widget in their applications. And then for those who are going full blast at scales, then there's the API option.
So you said something I want to ask a little bit more about. What are some of the ways customers are using this, or some of the common use cases for the Video Indexer?
Sure, it's a great question. So almost every company today, and this is super interesting when we engage with our customers, is a media company. So there's the traditional media companies, and there are those that are producing content of television and movies. There's news programs, but also just enterprise customers, and they all have huge media archives, some larger than others, and they have different needs of it. But a media archive is only of value if it's accessible, if you know what's there, if you know what people appear when. what topics are covered when, what places are referenced, what brands are referenced, and that's often a black box. And they don't have an easy way without difficult and manual processes for people to go. We're on regular calls where people are saying, like, the current process is we manually go in and we have a whole team of people that do this. But so to be able to just take that archive and take those files and be able to add value to expose that data from that video and audio content and make it searchable and make it accessible. They can repurpose those videos. They can make it accessible to others. That's really something that we hear about often. That's a popular use case. One other, I think the other use case that's very popular with our customers is accessibility. So we'll see soon that Video Indexer allows you to transcribe and translate the content. So if you have a knowledge or a learning platform and you have classes and you want to make it accessible to a worldwide audience or those that might be hearing impaired, so you could, and you don't necessarily have the resources to develop a solution, or you want to build our solution into your application, you'd simply implement your solution through Video Indexer, and then you'll have transcription built in and translation to tens of languages available out of the box.
That's super important work, being able to make things accessible, especially where we're living in such an online world, and being able to make sure that everybody can, access the content. So that's awesome. And talking about how everybody's kind of a media company with just the way that digital media is going, being able to unlock, insights into your video content and being able to make decisions on that and kind of update your business processes. So that's really cool. So I think you have a demo to show us now, right?
Absolutely. So let me just jump into that. So here we have the Video Indexer portal or site. And if you've already indexed videos, you'll see all of them available to you here. If you're new and just want to get started and don't necessarily have something available, there's a whole bunch of samples that you could just play around with and get started there. The upload experience is really simple and straightforward. Simply upload, drag the browser file, and then it takes a couple of minutes, depending on the length of the video, and you are good to go. We also allow you, of course, so let's say you've indexed tens of videos, you have tons of insights, and you want to be able to search across that content. So you could just simply do that. And of course, and not only will you find what's covered, but exactly where. So if I want to look for a friend Satya, I could search, and there I could see all the videos that I've indexed where Satya shows up, exactly when and how that happens. One thing the Video Indexer also allows you to do is, you'll see here on the left, there's the model customizations. So we have tens of AI models available out of the box, but you're also able to customize those models. So if you have people models or people that will be in videos over and over, and you want them to be recognized, so you could actually upload those images and build customized models, and you can do that for languages and brands as well as animated characters.
I have a question there. Okay, so
Please.
I can take these existing models that are working for me in the Video Indexer, and I can say I want it to recognize individual people that I have labeled in it. Am I understanding that right?
Correct. So I'll hopefully make a little bit more sense now. So we moved over to one of the indexed videos, and you see here on the left we have the player, and it's the standard Azure Media Services player, and on the right you have all of the insights, and we'll start going through some of them. And for each one of the people that's detected as through facial recognition with our identification through Video Indexer, you can just select on any one of them and then see where in the video that person appears. There you go. And what you're able to do is, let's say this guy's name is Steve. I can simply edit it and say unknown 20 is now Steve. And that actually, in the background, starts a person model, which will then, you're starting to train it by identifying Steve. And then in future videos, it'll be recognized. Of course, the more images and the more you enrich the model, the better it'll perform, and we'll get more into that. But so that's something you could actually do just straight through the portal experience.
Well, that's super powerful that they can start getting those insights as to who's in the video. So you're able to take this unstructured data that you would have been really difficult to manually go through and label and find these people. And once you kind of get that, you get your model starts to understand, and then you can start getting those insights. So what else can this do?
Sure. So one other thing that if let's say the video had celebrities or public personas, so that would actually be detected natively. So you would be able to see, for example, if we're looking at a video with Satya Nadella, so he would show up and you would actually have a bio about that person. So that's really useful for media companies or others that are dealing with public figures, and they just out of the box have those recognized, and they have these people recognized. They know exactly where in the video they appear.
Very cool.
So we'll just look through some of the insights that are provided for each of the videos. So in addition to the people, there's also observe people, which kind of tracks the people's movement. It has some aspects of them as they go through the video. So for example, this person appears in 1.86% of the video, and it has some aspects of their dress of short sleeves and long pants. We also do topic inferences. So not just by mining words from the transcription, but actually there's models to detect what topics are being discussed in the video, and that's shared as well. There's audio event detection. So if there are, if a crowd erupts or there's some significant gunshot or a siren or something, then that is detected, as well as keywords. And for any of them, you can see exactly where it'll take you to exactly in the video where that happens. There is also labels, named entities. So if you want to be able to see where a city, a location, or brands or people, you can see here that guy is detected as a person. But so then and this is super valuable as well when people especially want to be able to, let's say you have a social media platform or your data asset management platform, and you want to be able to kind of get an idea of where brands are mentioned in your videos and be able to search across that. So having that brand recognition is super useful. And with media companies and others who are creating content, so we also do scene segmentation. And it may sound straightforward, but it's super complicated to understand and kind of infer when a scene starts and ends, as well as shot and keyframes.
So for scenes, that's like if I want to be able to edit different pieces together, it will automatically segment out my video, and I can then easier kind of segment things and put them together the way I want.
Exactly. When there's a transition from one scene to the other. Exactly.
So it looks like, so you take the video, you also get the audio, and you do all kinds of processing on that. So we get the text, we get named entity recognition, we get brands. What else does that do from the audio?
Yeah, and that's a great point, that these insights are actually a blend of audio and video together. You mentioned that there's transcription. So and here in the timeline pipe, you can see the transcription. This is also editable. So it's really great quality, but let's say something didn't come out, it's not as transcribed as you would like, so you can edit that and modify it. You could also, and for accessibility, this is super useful, you could just move from one language to another, and the entire transcription will be moved. So if you want to make a single video or lesson available to a worldwide community, all you have to do is put it in a video indexer, and you're good to go.
So I can take my video and I can do localization in different languages by simply loading it in here, getting the transcription, and selecting language.
Exactly. Wow. Or through as well as just pull it out through the API. You select the language you want and then extract it that way. Yeah, and of course this is all downloadable, the insights as well as the source video or the closed caption transcription. So this is all easily exportable to be used as needed.
Now, what format does my video have to be in? Does it take all types of video formats, or do I need to be MP4, or what are supported?
So as it's built on Azure Media Services, it supports a wide range of formats. So most of the popular ones, it's really not an issue, and they're supported.
All right, David, that was really cool, and I love to know how things work. So, Yonit, would you bring me behind the scenes and show me a little bit about how this works?
Yeah, Cassie, sure. Okay, so I'm going to show this scary slide with a backend architecture of Video Indexer, but don't worry, you don't need to read everything here. And actually, it's pretty cool because each cube here is an AI model by itself, an AI model that we created, the data science team of Video Indexer, or we collaborated with another data science team in Microsoft to use their model. And the model can get as an input the videos, the frames, the images, or the audio, or a combination of both of them. I want to focus on one particular model called the OCR because it involves both collaboration and innovation. So let's talk a bit about OCR.
There's a lot of models. I know he said there were 30 plus models, but seeing that out in a diagram is crazy, the amount of things that this service is doing. So you mentioned OCR. If someone's not familiar with what that is, could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So OCR is optical character recognition, and it means detecting the text that within the frame, the image. For example, imagine a scene of a street view. So you have all sorts of signs and commercials, and all this text is embedded within the image, and we would like to capture it. It's very important for our customers. So luckily for us, there is a great model developed in Microsoft by the Cognitive Services Vision team called READ. And this is a great OCR model, but it works on images, of course, and we are in the video domain. So actually, we created in our team an algorithmic layer to work with their model on videos. So now I can show you how it looks in our portal. Okay, so for example, here you can see a video that is very rich with the information, textual information within the images. And you see that here we actually capture this information. And it's very useful for our users. It's added to the transcript. Here is another example of Microsoft video. And you can see that the names of the speakers is actually only shown on the screen. So in terms of accessibility, we are able to add the names of the speakers to the full transcript and give a very good solution for our users. OCR is a great insight by itself, but it's also a great input for other models. For example, we use the OCR insight as an input for the topics models David showed before. Okay, so OCR is a great insight by itself, but it can actually also be the input for other models. For example, it's the input for our new feature called clapperboard detection, which we just announced at Ignite. It's a great project developed by Matan Seri from my team. So do you know these clapperboard items of the industry where you do action and you write all the information of the role and the scene? There is actually a need to detect them automatically. Imagine that there is a 3 hours footage of the scene over and over, and they want to detect where the clapperboard appeared, and they also want to capture what's written on it. It's very valuable information. So what Matan did is actually taking the OCR as an input for an algorithm that detects when a clapperboard appears. It's not an easy task because there are different clapperboards and they have a different structure and different key values are written on them, and we want to detect them all. So actually our algorithm, I will show you how it looks in our portal. You can see here that it actually detects when the clapperboard appeared. Here, this is a time when the clapperboard appeared, and it also captured all the key values that were on it, that were written on it. And this is one clapperboard with one structure. Here is another clapperboard with a different structure, and again, it's detected when the clapperboard appeared, and also the text that is written on it.
Okay, that was really cool. I could see how editors would have to spend a lot of time looking for that clapperboard piece and finding those things. And then when you're talking about the different scene segmentation as well, I can see a lot of video editing kind of features coming from this. So there's so many different use cases, so much going on. That presentation that you showed with all of the different models that are going into this, how we're able to take video, get really complex information out of it. The text from the video itself, the text of the audio, we can transcribe that into different languages. There was so much there. I'm probably missing things. It's really neat. So what else should they know?
One thing that they should know is they can get started today with a free trial. So even you don't even need an Azure subscription. You could just create an account and get going with up to 10 free hours, up to 40 hours free if you're using the API. And with that, you can get a really great idea of what the solution can do and how it might be able to benefit you.
That's awesome. So they can go try it out on their video now and see if they can get those insights that they need and try to figure out how they can work that into their workflows before they kind of jump in.
And you write all the...
Absolutely.
And then there was something that's newly generally available. What was that?
Yes. So we had till now we had what's called classic accounts, and recently we went GA with ARM Resource Manager accounts. And there's actually a pretty smooth migration flow to move from being a classic account to an ARM account. And once you do that, you could benefit from all the goodness of being in a first-class Azure service with the Azure Monitor integration, RBAC, security features, and the like. So you'll see that at the top of the Video Indexer portal, and that's a really exciting direction for Video Indexer.
One thing that I thought was interesting when I was looking at the documentation is I noticed some responsible AI notifications, and I really loved seeing that. I think that at Microsoft in general does a really good job about incorporating ethics and responsible AI into their different services. Can you tell me a little bit about what some of the responsible AI features are that are part of this?
Responsible AI is something that we take very seriously, and now there is actually an application process, and some aspects and facial recognition of the service are actually not available out of the box, and there's an application process to make sure they're going to be used in a safe and ethical manner before that is made available to the user. So absolutely, that's something that's important to the service.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I would like to add that we pay a lot of attention in the data science team at Microsoft in general and in the data science team of Video Indexer for responsible AI, the data that we're using, the model that we are taking.
Good. With great power comes great responsibility, right? I feel like that comes in here, and this is an extremely powerful service, and approaching it through a responsible framework it's awesome. So I'm glad to hear that. If they want to learn more, where should they go?
They can go to our documentation. They can on Twitter. They can follow us on Twitter, where we release all the updates. And of course, they can just go to the portal and get started with a free trial. You could just enjoy it there, and just start playing around already.
We also released some great blogs recently about the OCR, about the clapperboard, and about other features that we are just announced. So read them.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the AI show today. I know I'm excited to go try out this Video Indexer. Maybe it can help me with the video content I can create. It'll edit it for me, get those nice cuts. Maybe I need to get one of those cool clappers. I don't have one of those yet. Now I have more things to buy.
You should have.
Yeah, right?
You can go Hollywood.
Yes. But with the tech flair, Anyways,
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being here again and showing us the cool features that are part of Azure Video Indexer.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks so much, Cassie.
Hey, everyone. All right, we went over a lot of information there. So everyone get your questions ready, put them in the chat because we are joined live here with Unit. Welcome.
Hi.
So I know it's late where you are, so I really appreciate you taking the time to come answer questions. There's so many features in that, and there's a lot of new things that came out with Ignite. What were some of the new features that were announced with Ignite?
Yeah, actually, we had some very exciting announcements during Ignite, and we are all the time working on new features. A very interesting new feature that we just announced is called featured clothing. So imagine that you are watching a video and suddenly one of the characters appears on screen, and she's the main character, and she wears this amazing dress, and you ask yourself, wow, I want to buy a dress just like this. Well, so this is a common scenario, and with our features, a publisher can actually now know that this is a dominant clothes or dress, and add a clickable ad for similar dresses just like this dress. So what we provide is a ranking of the clothing that appear on screen and their exact timing, exact timestamp and ranking. So the main clothing is not just about the time the amount of time it appears. It can also be because the crowd clapped during this scene, which was the main scene, or maybe it's a known celebrity, which might make you want to buy her dress even more. And other cool features that makes rank the clothing higher. So this is a very exciting thing, and more to come all the time.
Yeah, that reminds. So that there was this one episode of Westworld, and the main character had this dress that transformed into like a different dress, and it was just like this super epic scene. And I needed that feature then, because like if it would have popped up like this is that dress, I think I would have been like in my shopping cart within a minute. So that's a really cool way that
Yeah.
people can kind of promote their products in different ways, and have kind of like interactive videos, and make things more two-sided with media, kind of consuming media.
Yeah, and actually, it also relates to the responsible AI aspect, because it keeps privacy of the viewer. Like, you don't know anything about the viewer anymore in the advertising world. You just know something about the content of the video, and this is what directs the ad, not something that invades the privacy of the user.
Yeah, which is important to make sure that we can still kind of where you can market, but still by being respectful of the user's data. Absolutely. Was there any other? I know you talked about the cool, like the clapper thing for like video production. That was another new feature from Ignite as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Does anybody, I'm not seeing any questions in the chat yet. Does anybody have questions for Unit about different like use cases or features? Because I know we probably didn't even cover everything that Video Indexer can do, because we saw the big spooky slide with all of the models coming together to create the service. And so there's just so many different use cases and abilities within it. So if you have your questions, now is your chance to ask. Quiet group this Friday. Maybe you did scare them away with the slide. They're like, okay, well, I'm trying to think if I have any other questions. You know, I got a chance to ask them as you were going through. One thing we didn't get to show was the portal. I did put the link in the chat for aka.ms/AVI portal. So you can go there, and the portal's mainly to like where you would go and use a UI with the service, right? Versus an API.
Yeah. Definitely.
So that's kind
of very useful. It's very nice. It's very handy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I can go in there and kind of test out different things, but also can I build the service through that UI, or am I only going to be doing that through the API? And like
we have widgets. We have widgets, and we have an API. Yeah.
Oh, neat. So someone could use this as like low code. Like you don't necessarily have to code to go in and use this either. All right. Well, we are not getting any questions.
Well, never mind. Maybe it was so clear.
It was. And they're so busy thinking about all of the cool ways that they're going to use it that they don't have any questions. Oh, here we go. We got one. Awesome. Okay. How could speech command work with this API? So I think by speech command, they probably mean like text to speech. Like, can I like asking for something, I think is what he's at mean. Is that?
I'm not sure I understand. We actually transcribe the whole video, and then you can also translate the transcription to another language. We support many languages, and you can edit the transcript if you find some mistakes. I don't know if I got the question right.
So I think that would work. So with Video Indexer, we're taking a pre-recorded video, and we're using different speech services to get out that text, and then doing different models on the audio in order to do transcription. I think speech command, okay, yes, or go to the order page or quit, etc. Oh, so I think what he's asking
Ah,
is like text to like an Alexa type or
like commands. No, unfortunately not
yeah.
yet.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
that's cool, but no.
We're not quite there. Like
No,
maybe with a
not yet.
Copilot plus these services, we can just say like
Yeah.
computer create this service for me and analyze my video. But really,
Yeah.
like you could probably build that with this though. Like because you could use an Azure Cognitive Service text to speech or
Yeah.
speech to text. Sorry,
And
speech to
then
text.
create the commands behind the scene to index
Yep.
your video and yada yada yada. And wow, amazing, but not yet. Cool feature.
Yeah. But I really feel like that it's not capable out of the box, but you could put our services together and create
Right.
that. Like,
Yeah.
we totally live in the
Yeah.
future. It's so cool. Um, any other questions? I feel like that's like a lot of with AI, like there's all these things like individually that are capable and then putting them all together is what is starting to make things super powerful. And the video indexer does that. It takes all like those models, it's taking a lot of different AI models and putting them together. And I feel like this multi-model type architecture is becoming more popular and like a lot more, like when I first started doing machine learning, I was thinking about, I would have like one model, you'd have one model that would do X, right? Like it would solve tasks. And you still have that, but now people are stringing them together to get these really rich, like just futuristic capabilities, which I think is really cool. And I think this service really kind of speaks to that forward, the way where things are going, and that question as well is thinking about what we have and where it's going. Like eventually we probably will be able to, just talk to our computers and say, analyze, enhance, all those things.
Yeah, I think that one of the amazing things about Video Indexer is the complex interactions between the models, and that it's really a collection of models that will be applied on your video. It's not just one model, one detection, or just one thing with speech. No, it's a whole package of many AI models all applied at the same time on your video. And also some of them interact with one another. Like I explained in the OCR, one model's output can be another model's input. I also think that it's a multi-domain aspect of video, because we conquered the image world. No, I'm kidding, we did not. But we have these amazing models, Florence and DAL-E, and all these amazing vision models, and we have these amazing textual models, GPT-3 and everything. But the combination of all three domains, the transcription, the NLP because of the transcript, the audio domain, and the vision domain that all live together in a video, this is a huge task. And this
Yeah.
is something that we think about all the time at Video Indexer.
That's so cool. We have another question, and he's saying that they have a decade of family videos, and they want to classify them by their sons, daughters, and his own. Is that possible? Like, yeah, because we saw that the face API. I mean, I'll let you answer, but I think we kind of saw a little bit of that, how you could do that.
Yeah, this is actually the first thing that I did with Video Indexer when I joined the
Yeah.
group. Is I wanted to know what's going on with the faces model. So I just created a face model of my two daughters. And then I indexed some videos of my family. And I saw that really it can detect the faces of my family members because I trained a model to know them. So this is the first thing that I did with the Video Indexer. And yeah, definitely.
That's really cool. So I was thinking about like the business case scenarios. I wasn't even thinking about personal video and how you could use that to have like rich analytics on your own data.
Yeah, you can. Well, there is privacy issue and issues about faces, but definitely it's an amazing capability.
Cool. Well, we have someone to join us now. Hello, Seth.
Howdy doodle. Can you hear me?
I can. It says you're me
Yeah.
though. We should fix that.
Oh, it is an honor to be called by
You're
Cassie
Cassie today
Review.
too.
I am also Cassie. We are all Cassie.
Wait, does
Okay,
that make
Cassie
me
1
like
and
a
Cassie
robot?
2.
That's right. Cassie 1 and Cassie 2. How you doing, Yonit?
Good. Thank you.
Did I say your name right?
Yeah, you did.
That's the only right thing I'm going to do for the rest of the day. And if it's the only thing, it's probably the best thing. So everyone needs to give me a round of applause for saying names correctly. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, I don't see any other questions in the chat. So Uni, again, thank you so much for joining. And I know it's late, so enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you. It
Take
was
care,
great
my
meeting
friend.
you all, and
Oh, oops.
Cassie,
Hey,
how's it going? I'm gonna turn some music on here in the background, if that's okay. My
I'm great,
cheesy
Cassie.
music.
How are you? Oh, here we
Can
go.
you hear the music? Because sometimes I'm
No.
in Teams and people can't hear it. Let me turn it up. Can you hear it now?
Oh, now I can. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, but it's still really quiet.
I know it's on purpose because I want people to hear you and I have a chat. Did you watch Ignite at all? What did you think?
I did. I watched a little bit of it. I had a talk on one of the days, so I was really, I was kind of focused on being prepped for that and focusing and making sure like all my demos still worked, which is funny. One of my demos didn't.
Tell us about your talk.
Oh, sure. Okay, so it was start the MLOps process, and it was based on a Learn module, but I added a bunch of demos in, and I had this demo that I've run a million times, and apparently a NuGet package got updated. And so I ran it right before. Thankfully, I caught it before I went live, but I had to update my, or not NuGet, I'm sorry. I was using Node, so it was an NPM package. But
okay.
But yeah, anyways, but I did update it like right in time. But I thought that was just funny because isn't that how the demos work? You could do a demo 1,000 times.
I have not worried about doing a live demo issue in years.
Yeah? Why not?
Years. Like I've never, that nervousness before you give a talk and you're like, this might not work. And I could look like an idiot in front of, well, I'd look like an idiot either way. But I mean, like literally I have not had that feeling in a long time. That's not true because I've done a lot of customer work recently and talking to customers. But that had to be a fun feeling to be reminded of that terror.
It did. That was not the only, I just had all kinds of things, but luckily by the time I went live, everything was fixed. My computer also blue screened right like 5 minutes before I was supposed to go live, and it restarted and I had to reset everything up like within 5 minutes. And I had like maybe a minute before I went live and had everything ready again. So like it didn't actually affect. So the actual session went great, which I was very lucky. But
you were virtual, right? You weren't in person?
Yeah, it was a virtual. All the Learn lives were virtual, presented in multiple languages. They're all archived too, so people can go watch them on the Ignite site as well, and still get all of the learning, and then do the Learn modules as well. So yeah, it was cool. That was my 3rd time doing a Learn live, and they're pretty fun.
That's cool. So did you get to watch the end of focus? If you didn't, that's okay, because I can actually show you the funniest parts because I have the videos.
I saw parts of it.
Okay.
But show me again.
Okay. So when we were at Ignite, I like to do more fun things, and they let me do stuff sometimes around here, which is, I don't know who allows that, but they let me do stuff sometimes around at Microsoft. And I thought for this particular show, we should do a man/person on the street segment. And I don't know if you saw them. If you didn't, I'm going to play some because I wanted to see what people thought about AI. So let's see if I can get this to work. So I am going to, I think these are the right videos. Let me see. Let me go ahead and, no, I don't want to share my screen. I want to add a source, local video. Here we go. This is going to work. So this is the first question I ask to people. So I think let's see, man. Okay. This is the one. So I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna put that. So I went out on the street to ask people about AI, and this is what they said. All right, I am here on the street asking people random AI questions. Let's go find out. First question. What's your name?
Allegra.
Wrong. No, I'm just kidding. Allegra.
Adam.
Mariah.
Dominique. Julia McGowan.
Nice.
Charles.
That is right.
Karsten.
Okay. Where are you from?
From Germany.
Logan.
Yes. How did you know?
Heather.
That is right.
I'm going with Ryan.
Ryan, that is right. We got it right.
Salim.
Okay. What's the craziest thing you've heard about artificial intelligence?
Cloning, Babylon,
Skynet type prophecies.
Like killing us and stuff?
Like a machine takeover.
That's pretty scary.
They could possibly take over the entire planet.
Dude, you're making me nervous. I'm wanting to take over the world.
Right now?
Oh, wait, that maybe it's taking over the world.
Is it behind us right now?
All right. So that is what people think. But what's your reaction to that?
I thought it was great. It reminded me of like a Tonight Show or something like that, where they go and talk to people. But it was neat because it's really, everybody knows about AI, but everybody has different levels of knowledge and understanding of it. So it's really kind of cool to see like what does the average person on the street think about it. And I think it's interesting too, because the story that everybody always tells is the one where eventually robots are going to like get smart and kill us all. But do you know why? Do you know why?
Oh, help me understand.
So because I'm a geek and I like to overthink everything, I looked up the origination of the word robot, and it came from a book. And in the original book where the word robot was coined, that's what happens in the book. The robots get really smart and kill all the humans. And so like the origination of the word is basically the story that keeps getting told over and over again. And so I mean, I don't know if that's why, but like it makes sense to me, because I was reading about this and I'm like, well, of course, if the way the word was coined was around this whole story that was epic enough to create this common word that's now commonly used, then it's obviously the story stuck. So
makes a ton of sense. And all of these subsequent sci-fi movie with the robots, as we colloquially call them in my house, the robots make them all kill a robot. So that's what people think.
Right.
But
then like,
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say there were some things in there too where people, I think I saw in the rest of the clip when I watched it, where people had really intelligent, like good answers too.
Let's do that. So that is the segue that I think I am going to do next. Thank you for that. It turns out that the question is a really dumb question that I asked. So let me show you like the next thing. So this is when I asked a good question. This is the kind of thing that they said. So let's get to that right now. Here we go.
Come on over. Come on down. What is a boring part of your job that AI could make 100% better?
My commute, if I had an AI car.
We use a lot of like sales tools that collect all this data and they all stink, and maybe we can use AI for that.
Yes!
If it could type my emails for me, that would be really helpful.
I just went through this whole thing with an airline, and it cost me like 6 hours of phone calls. It was a nightmare.
I think general customer support could be improved through AI, making calls, individual calls, unnecessary, stuff like this.
So, I mean, now when I ask a better question, like how can AI make boring parts of your job go away? Then you literally have like actual business use case. One was like, write my emails for us. We do that in Outlook. If you type in Outlook, you'll see we try to complete some stuff. Make business processes less boring or less, I don't know what she said. She was really funny, by the way. I forget what her name was, but she was hilarious. And we had to cut it down. We spent an hour doing stuff on this. Oh, so there's a little behind the scenes for people. Behind the scenes. We spent about an hour, and I must have talked to about 15 people, and we had to condense it down. They all had great ideas. But once you started asking like practical questions, I mean, were you surprised with the answers they gave? Just random people on the street?
No, I thought it was so cool. And I think it just speaks kind of just to the technical level that people are starting to get. But I also think about the way I got into AI and building models was because I wanted to automate something I didn't want to do. That's like literally how I started and built my first model, is because I wanted a computer to do it for me, and how I got into programming as well.
Technical people will go to great lengths to not have to go to great lengths. It's just how we live. I will spend a week making a job that takes 3 minutes go away if I don't have to use those 3 minutes every time. It's just the way we are built, I think. It's the way we're built.
Yeah,
so
totally.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No, I was just going to say, when you start to program, you start to I feel like it kind of changes your brain and the way you approach problems because of that. Like once you get into development, you start to kind of see everything with like, how do I automate and make this better and build on that? And it kind of like becomes just like part of your life too. Yeah.
And what was cool is because of what those people on the street said, they were like, because look, this was pretty risky session, because I was like, we're going to base our entire session on what random people on the street said. And they're like, all right. And so the demos we actually did our support center demo. So I thought I would show you. It's only 3 minutes. Let's see if I can find it. I have it on my hard drive somewhere. But it's literally a really funny support center demo. And if I don't find it, I'd be so mad. I'd be so mad, but I'll find it because I just remember it is. It's not on my desktop, even though that's where everything goes. It's on the C drive, videos, and then I'm going to go to Ignite 2020. This is it. I found it. Here it is. This is Xiao Ying helping with AI and support.
In Bank of Contoso, their support agents receive hundreds of letters and emails from their customers every day. Here, I have an example of a dispute email submitted by an unhappy customer with their banking experience. A dense email like this can be tough for agents to catch up quickly, which will impact agents' issue resolution time in their customers' experiences. To resolve this challenge, developers in Bank of Contoso quickly put together this app using document summarization in Cognitive Service for Language. It provides agents with two types of summaries: an abstractive summary to rewrite a long email within only a couple of sentences, and an extractive summary to highlight a couple of key sentences from the original email, just in case the agent wants to get more context. Now agents can easily identify the reported issues with key information from long documents and quickly respond to customers, classify, and create case reports. Now let's move on to another use case of contact center. Let's say this same customer also submitted a picture of paper form for this issue. The form is handwritten with customer details, so it can often take agents a lot of time to manually input the data into the system. And it could also result in human error. This is where Azure Form Recognizer can help you. The best way to try this out is using Form Recognizer Studio. Let's try to analyze general document and upload the form. By simply clicking the Analyze button, Form Recognizer returns the extracted key value pairs in the form. With this, the agent's manual process can be completely automated, so their time is freed up to focus on engaging with more customers. Now the same customer also made a phone call to the Bank of Contoso Contact Center. Hello, thank you for calling the Bank of Contoso. How may I assist you today?
Hi there. The abuse of my credit card has really screwed me up. I've sent the dispute email, I submitted the form. How long do I need to wait until it can be removed from my account? Please help me, and I need this solved as soon as possible.
I'm so sorry this happened. Let me assist you on your credit dispute request. It seems the customer is very upset about this issue. At this point, customer service managers probably want to get timely insights from a support call like this. So let's see how NLP capabilities in Cognitive Service can help you. Let's try out in the Language Studio. It now provides a guided experience for developers to quickly explore and apply call center analytics. Using the sample data provided in Language Studio, we can see, together with Cognitive Service for speech and language, a call recording can be automatically transcribed and analyzed with sentiment and PI detection. It also uses conversation summarization to recap the customer issue and the resolutions as discussed in the call. Language Studio also provides the sample code and the JSON output. So developers in Bank of Contoso can easily get started with the sample code and integrate all these AI capabilities into this app to analyze the customer call we just played. With all these insights, service managers can quickly identify which calls need more attention and understand the content of those calls without even listening to the entire recording.
That's really cool. Also,
Yeah.
Can you hang on? I got to make a phone call.
Did you like that? No, so we were here's a little more behind the scenes. Sorry about the echo. I fixed that. So two things about behind the scenes. So when we were filming that, because we filmed that before the show, obviously, because it was in a studio. They were the production guys, and I work with them, production guys and gals. I work with them a lot. They were like, "Hey Seth, we have an idea for the support call," and I'm like, "Okay, tell me what it is." They're like, "You call in and say the things," and I was like, "Oh, I'm totally down for it." And we even found like this red phone. If you saw a red phone, we had to dust it off because that phone had not been touched for many a year. That's the first story. The second story is if you watch the actual session, and maybe we'll put links in the description so you can go watch it. after coming out of that session, and Eric, if you don't know Eric Boyd, he's in charge of all of our AI platform group. He's a really nice guy. He reports to Scott Guthrie. Anything having to do with AI, he's the dude. He's a really funny guy. After we come out of there, I was like, so what'd you think of that, Eric? And he goes, Seth, I had no idea you were having credit problems.
That's fantastic.
And if you watch it, I'm like, that's really funny. And I didn't even know. I was like, I had a moment there. And I was like, we should talk about it during our next one-on-one.
Some issues to raise. Well,
this is really funny. And so so that's the behind the scenes on that Ignite, on that particular thing. And yeah, but it turns out that I was working with Xiao Ying on this, and I got sick a couple of about a month ago. And so I was trying to rest, but I had to get this recording done for Xiao Ying. And so the original recording, you can hear me, but I sound sick. I should find the audio, and it's like, oh, that's Seth, but he sounds like something's not quite right. I was sick. So
it was just adding to the stress, right?
Oh,
like
I know. That was the distress. I'm having credit issues, and now my boss's boss knows, and you can hear it in my voice. So that was the thing. So
about the demo, though, I want to add something here, because like a long time ago in another life, I actually worked in a call center. Like I was the person that you called.
Oh.
And I used to help people with their benefits, like health insurance benefits. Mm-hmm. And one of the things you have to do when we did this back in the day, right? You would have to actually like note the call while you're talking on it. And you would have these notes under people's accounts so that we knew when they called, we knew what they'd been helped with. And if they called and got somebody else, they could still be helped with different people. So what was happening there is the AI was doing that for you.
Yes.
So but when we did this, I got really good at listening while typing now, because you had to be able to like, in order to keep up with everything, you had to do that. But like this tool, you could add that into these systems, and then you don't have to do that. Like you just make people's lives easier. Like it's a really neat scenario. It's
an awesome scenario. And I hate to break it to you, listening while typing is now an obsolete skill, Cassie. I'm so sorry. I don't know what to say other than
no, I guess
cool. I think it's cool though. And that's so that was the first half, and then I asked them 2 more questions, and then we did some demos on those as well. I mean, I'm happy to show them if you have time. I know you have to go, but I mean, it was a really fun thing, and it worked out. It was kind of a gamble. Everyone was like, "Are they going to say the right thing?" I don't know. It's people on the street, and so when you watch them. If you do, we'll put the link again in the description later on, so you can go and link it there. Just if you go to Microsoft Ignite, and search for Into Focus AI, you'll find it. But we had no idea what they were going to say, and our whole session depended on that.
And the whole session. And how long did you have from like when you recorded that to like figure out if it was going to work or not?
So usually we start the process of figuring out what we're going to do about 4 weeks before. At least I do. And the reason why is because there's this constant pressure of engineering getting stuff done, and then us being able to show it in time. They ask us to record some of these things like 3 or 4 weeks in advance. Ours, they asked us to record 2 weeks in advance. And so I had to start like, it was pretty touch and go there for a little bit, but as soon as we recorded them, it all just seemed to kind of work out. And so the first question we asked was, what boring business interaction would you make better? And most people were like, well, support. And I thought they might say that. And so got lucky on that one. So.
Yeah, no, it did turn out really good. And I think it's neat too, just to kind of hear how these things come together, because from an outside perspective, you don't know how much work and time and effort goes into these things, and how things can kind of come together last minute. Sometimes they take a really long time, and there's so much work that goes into creating what you see at Ignite. And I think it's always just impressive.
Yeah, and like I said, my days were filled with this. I was only able to watch Netflix for half the day as opposed to 3/4 of the day, which I usually do.
Did you fit in some YouTube time though too, or was
I had to fit in the YouTube time after work?
The sacrifices we make.
I know the sacrifices we make for the viewing public. But yeah, so that I might show some more of that maybe next time when I don't even know when our next show is. Let me look at my calendar. Hold I was like hurriedly closing a bunch of tabs on my computer because I knew I was coming on. I'm working on like top secret things, and I don't want to like divulge things like a year early. That would be horrid, right? So let's see. I think our next one is November 4th. So maybe on November 4th, I'll holy cow, November. What? I thought it was just summer. It's already November?
I know. It's like, and it's almost Halloween and summer. I think the weird thing about this summer is it both went really slow and really fast at the same time. Like it felt like it was going slow, but then it was just over like that. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how it felt for me.
Well, I mean, it does feel that way. I will tell you, if you watched Ignite, let me show you the demo that we did for let me just get it up so you can see it. This is the demo that we did for Azure Machine. You tell me, dear viewing audience, if this looks familiar to you at all.
My name is Miss Stolnitz, and I'm going to show you how we can get started creating an AI-based rock, paper, scissors game. The code I'll be demoing uses my webcam to capture an image as I make a rock, paper, or scissors with my hand, and uses AI to classify that image. In fact, if you've watched the AI show, you may already be familiar with the Rochambeau app that I'll be showing you today. There are 3 major parts in the development of this app. In part 1, I'll show you how I can train and test a machine learning model that classifies the images locally on my machine. In part 2, I'll show you how to train and deploy this model in the cloud using Azure ML. And in part 3, I'll show you the web app that gives us a user interface to interact with the trained model. Let's start with step 1, where we'll be training the model locally. We're using a pre-trained ResNet 18 model. The inputs to our model are images that look like this for rock, this for scissors. Well, you get the idea. And the labels for the images come from the name of the directory where they're located. We're using the PyTorch deep learning framework, the PyTorch Lightning package to reduce the amount of PyTorch code we need to write, and the MLflow open source package to log some parameters and metrics. I'll show you later how to look at these logs. We can run the training code by choosing the PL trainer launch configuration and pressing F5. Training takes a few minutes, so I use the magic of video editing to skip forward to the final result. You can see here that training was done over 7 epochs and achieved a very low validation loss and a validation accuracy of 1, which is perfect. We can look at our MLflow logs here. For example, let's look at our validation loss over the training epochs. Or instead, we can look at the nice UI that MLflow provides us to see the same information visually. I always like to test my models locally before I train them in the cloud, which we can do in this app by running the PL tester launch configuration. This tests our model using just a few images, so it should be pretty quick. And as you can see, our test loss is also very low, and our test accuracy is 1. This is great. We're ready to move on to step 2, where we'll train and deploy our model in the cloud using Azure ML, which gives us the opportunity to use more compute and work with bigger data sets. This step will require the creation of several Azure ML resources. I have 3 options to create these resources. I can use the Azure ML Studio UI, I can write code using the Python SDK, or I can use YAML files in the Azure ML CLI, which is what I'll do for this demo. Let's look at the YAML file containing the configuration for my data, which, as you can see, points to the location of my local data folder. I can upload this data to the cloud and create the corresponding Azure ML data asset by invoking the azml data create command in the CLI. Let's verify this using the Azure ML Studio. And there's our data asset. We need to create a few more cloud resources for our scenario to work. We could create each one individually in the terminal as I just showed you, but instead we created a GitHub action containing all the CLI steps, which makes them much more easily reproducible. This GitHub action creates a job that runs my training Python file in the cloud. Then it downloads the trained model produced by the job. Then it registers the model with Azure ML. And finally, it creates a deployment and endpoint we can use to query the trained model. Let's run it. I'll fast forward here, and when it's done, we can go to the studio and take a look at our training job. You can see here nice visualizations for the MLflow parameters and metrics we logged earlier. We can then go to the model section and see that our model was indeed registered with Azure ML. And finally, let's verify that our endpoint was created. And it was. Great. Now let's test the endpoint. Our input section is already populated with a test image, and our prediction is scissors with really high confidence. Excellent. We're ready to move on to step 3, where we'll query our endpoint from within a web app. We're using an Azure static web app here with an Azure function that does a post request to the endpoint we just created. Let's look at the web app running. I'll capture an image and then I'll submit it. This triggers a post request, which passes the image I just captured to the endpoint and gets back a prediction. Rock, which is correct. And that's all there is to it. We're well on our way to writing our rock, paper, scissors game, and machine learning has made it so much easier.
It's such a cool demo.
Indeed. I wonder where we got that from, friends. We've been working on that for like a year. And you'll notice that the reason why we use that is because at the end of another question that we asked, they're like, what would you do if there was a startup? They're like, we would make a game. And we're like, okay, we have one that we're building. Let's use that. So it was really cool.
Yeah, and I think it's just neat how she showed like the full process from like built-in tests, like automated tests. She showed the GitHub action for deployment, integrating with Azure ML, doing all these best practices with MLOps on top of it, and then using like just the tooling has come so far. It is.
Oh, I know.
Amazing.
Oh my goodness, because we've been around for a while,
Yeah.
and my goodness, there is a lot of good stuff nowadays that we just did not have. So.
No, and I even said this in the MLOps talk. I talked about how it feels like data science is kind of growing up because of all the tooling that we have. Like it's not just, you know, the experimentation and process when I first started out, and it was just not, it was not there at all. It was hard. There were like MLOps wasn't even a thing yet. And I told this story in my session as well, where, you know, I was doing traditional, you know, C# and full stack development. And the first model that I had built, they're like, okay, now put it into our DevOps cycle. And I was just like, how do I do that? I was like, but it's different, you know, because it's a different process. Like, yes, there are similarities between the two. So in the Ignite MLOps talk that I do, I kind of talk about that. And that just kind of shows how far it's come, where now there's like these best practices and these amazing tools that you can just plug and play. Like, so good.
Amen. Well, my friend, I just wanted to show you those couple of things. I know you had I think you were going to pop off at the top of the hour. If you are welcome to stay. We're going to continue to work on our wonderful game AI app. You're welcome to stay, but if you have to go, I totally understand as well.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for showing some of that Ignite stuff. It was such a cool recap, and I did miss some of it. So I'm glad.
So this is new for you? Unvarnished thoughts. No one's watching, but unvarnished thoughts between you and I. There's people here, but don't mind them.
Oh, you're funny.
It was cool.
Funny. It was cool.
I thought it was good.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, unvarnished thoughts. It was basically, I thought it was great. And I think that I see some of these pieces separately, but when it's really neat to see it all put together, you know, when with Ignite, we see the work and we're helping with the product and doing everything we can to kind of get the individual pieces working, right? So we kind of know that things are being worked on, but like seeing it polished, it's just always, I think, just impressive to see where it ends up, you know, like to see the work that goes into it and then see what. So those are my unvarnished thoughts. It's just there. It's really cool. And I think that it's going to make people's lives a lot easier, which is
all righty. That's cool. Well, thank you so much. I will take it from here. You're the best, and we'll talk soon, my friend.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. She's the best. Let's give her a hand here. Listen, Cassie, you are the best.